Welcome everyone to my Sex Ed episode 4. So today we're talking about body shaming. We are a little bit late this week. I have been really struggling with anxiety, and so just hadn't really sort of been feeling right to get this episode up, but we're here now. And I have some exciting news. So I will be making you guys a newsletter. So obviously there won't be new Sex Ed news weekly, but it will be a breakdown of what each episode was that week, so that you guys have it in hard copy, so that if you want to refer back to it, then that's there for you. You can sign up to my mailing list as of Monday, and then you'll receive that newsletter in your email each week. It's completely free, and it'll also have sort of like any new awesome things that promote sexual wellness or sexual freedom, that kind of thing. I'll pop onto that newsletter so to keep you guys updated. So yeah, that will be available as of Monday. You can sign up for that. But yeah, part 4, we are talking body shaming and obviously sex and sex related still, but more so about that self-love and that wellness around sort of talking about bodies. So body shaming. What is body shaming? So body shaming is the action or practice of humiliating someone by mocking or being critical of their physical appearance. So calling somebody fat jokes, skinny jokes, calling someone anorexic, saying she has rolls, he has rolls, anything to do with somebody's body, their boobs, how quickly they're progressing through puberty, all that kind of stuff comes under body shaming. So I think that body shaming has always been around. I remember reading my mum's magazines when I was younger, and it said, how to lose 5 kgs in a week, what's fashion and fashionable, strong woman is in this at the moment. 90s we had that really thin look for women, and pretty much if you don't conform to the social norms that are going on currently, body shaming can come into play. So I think that social media has definitely opened it up for more criticism, and for us to be able to access a wider range of people to body shame, or have people body shame you. And so it's really apparent on social media, and so that's why I really want to talk about it today. So when we're talking body shaming, it can mean sort of from any degree. Me being quite a lean person naturally, I've been body shamed on the side where of being too skinny, being told I should eat more, I should eat a pie, I don't want to get any skinnier, or I'll look sick, I'll look like a cancer patient, those kind of things. And obviously I find that just as hurtful as somebody would for any other kind of body shaming. It's really affected me in the past, and so my first-hand experience comes from sort of that skinny shaming. I know that we all know that fat shaming is a huge issue in the media. Celebrities get fat shamed constantly. They get shamed for having rolls or soft body parts. I'm not sure at what point we thought that celebrities were made out of plastic, but of course when they bend over, they have rolls and things like that. We all do. That's the joy of the body and human flesh and skin. So body shame can be at any angle. So it could be about the colour of somebody's hair, their glasses, their freckles, their size, their height, their skin colour, any of that. Anything where you're talking about somebody's physical appearance is body shaming. So when we body shame, there's a reason why it's such an issue. I know that pretty much everyone that is out there watching this right now has been probably body shamed in their life. Parents, cousins, friends, siblings. It can come from lots of places, or it can come online from strangers or from magazines that make you feel like you should look a certain way, blogs, that kind of thing. Models are another huge one, where we feel like we have to fit into a social norm to be beautiful, and that all comes under and is classified as body shaming. So try and think back to that time where you were body shamed. How did it make you feel? Did it make you feel less than, not as important, ugly, disgusting, dirty? It was probably a derogatory feeling, one that made you feel less than, and so that can build. So if somebody has body shaming, said to them one time, oh my gosh, your hips are so big, it can kind of, if the person is mentally well and has support and that kind of thing, it can kind of come and go quite quickly. We can go, oh, that's a bit of a dicky thing to say, but it didn't affect me a lot. When we're constantly on social media, for example, on Instagram, every day, that negativity can be fed to us. So if you're following pages of girls that are really watching their weight, or really think a demographic should look a certain way, we should all be blonde, we should all be that kind of thing, that is negatively feeding to you. And if somebody is bullying you, or you hear constant, every time you put up a picture on social media, or you put yourself out there, you get a new outfit, you wear it out, if somebody comes at you each time, that builds up, that grows, that trauma becomes trauma. It starts off as a comment, a silly little tiny comment, and it grows and grows and grows and grows, and becomes traumatic for somebody, and then they get so mentally down on themselves that some sort of symptom comes from it. So a lot of the time I see eating disorders would be, your biggest thing in the media that comes to light when somebody has been body shamed. I have seen it firsthand with friends, with myself, and also through magazines online, through blogs, that kind of thing. So to have somebody constantly doing that to you, eventually that trauma will grow itself. And then once that trauma starts to grow, those symptoms come in. We have a few different things that can happen from this. First being, you could become anorexic. So anorexia is nervosa. Anorexia nervosa is the full name for it. But anorexia is probably something that you've heard in your lifetime. And anorexia is when a human is trying to stay as thin as possible. So they've seen that their power comes from thinness, that they will be the most beautiful, they'll be the most liked, that kind of thing, and so they refuse to eat. They're routinely refusing to eat, and so then every time they skip that meal and they feel that hunger come in, it releases some dopamine or some serotonin that says you're doing the right thing. So then that grows, and then that grows, and then obviously the weight gets so low that they can't physically or mentally make rational decisions for themselves, and then so their mental illness is affected, their body is. When you get down really low, especially for a woman, we keep a lot of our hormones in our fat cells, that kind of thing, and women can't actually mentally think straight when their body fat is below 8 to 9%, and we need that to keep our homeostasis in our body and our brain working. We need carbohydrates to make sparks in our brain, and that comes from food. When your fat stores are so low, your body has nothing to tap into to grab some fuel if you're hungry. When you're anorexic, you're always hungry because you're refusing to eat food, and then your body has nothing to chew into from fat cells. So eventually starts shutting down, your organs shut down, you have heart failure, you have kidney failure, your liver doesn't work properly, those kinds of things. And so obviously it ruins somebody's life. And then we have other eating disorders. Bulimia is a huge one. Somebody will, that when you're bulimic, you will force a lot of food down. You'll eat huge meals, so then it can kind of seem like that you're doing fine to those around you, but you will then go and vomit it all back up. And people can do that either from forcing it, putting fingers down their throat, that kind of thing, or you actually eat so much that you physically vomit, and so obviously that's really dangerous. What happens there is the same thing. Your body needs those fat cells to survive. Men also need them. Sorry for forgetting to mention that. Women, we need a higher body fat percentage to survive happily. Men can get down a lot lower, but obviously you still need a lot of food. Men need more food to produce testosterone. For women, they need more fat cells to hold that estrogen and that progesterone in there. So so your bulimia, obviously, your low weight is an issue, but also the acid that is coming up out of your stomach can cause a lot of long-term effects. It burns all the throat, your food pipe, where you're vomiting it back up. That gets constantly burnt, and then your valve in the top of your throat. If you've ever had reflux before, you'll know what that feels like. That's when the opening isn't working as well as it should be, usually from an acid buildup in the stomach. But this one from bulimia is that little hole is being torn away too many times. It's been opened too much from unnecessary stomach acid, and then so it doesn't work properly. And so they have a lot of issues relating to digestion and eating later on as well. So it's a really long-term effect on somebody when they get bulimia or anorexia nervosa or any other kind of eating disorder, those being the main two. Another huge issue that can happen is body dysmorphia, and that generally comes from an eating disorder of anorexia, bulimia, that kind of thing, but doesn't necessarily need to. It can come all on its own. And so body dysmorphia is described as a mental health disorder for a start. So it's going on inside your head that's creating you to believe a certain situation. And so what it is it's a compulsive, obsessive mental health disorder in which you are obsessed with your appearance. So you need to check it all the time. You need to weigh yourself. You need to ensure that that your flaws are perfected constantly, tweaked, that kind of thing. And what it is it's that you see your body not how it looks. So you might think that you're fat, for example. You might look at yourself and you've got, you could see your ribs coming through because you're so thin, but your mind would see you still as fat. And so it can be a really dangerous one. It can be hidden really easily because there's no actual physical thing that's not being done, not eating or eating too much, that kind of thing. It's more just hides away in the shadows of somebody really being mean to themselves and not seeing their body for what it is and how awesome and powerful it is. And that you're embarrassed and ashamed of it. And so that's obviously a very dangerous place to be too. And then we've got our other mental illness that comes into play that we've talked about before in previous episodes, such as anxiety. It creates anxiety, it creates depression, it creates OCD. OCD can come in because of that compulsiveness. If you are worried too much about how the world perceives your body, OCD can also be found in people that have been body shamed a lot. So I think that when we think about body shaming, we generally think about somebody body shaming us or us body shaming someone else. You don't tend to think about it as something you can do to yourself. But I think that this is probably the biggest issue when it comes to body shaming is actually people body shaming themselves. I have done a lot of different things in my life which has required my body to look at a lot of different ways. I've done competitive bodybuilding. I've been a yoga instructor. I've done a lot of things that required me to change my body, and I have been body shamed at every single time of my life, and whether it being you're too muscly, oh my gosh, why would you want to look like that, that's creepy, when I was bodybuilding, or when I was a yogi and didn't have a lot of muscle, oh my gosh, it was just a beanpole, like those kind of things. And I can sort of have started to believe it and take it on board. So when I was bodybuilding, I constantly checked my body fat. You need to, obviously, because you're tracking your muscle and your body fat while you're in competition preparation. But there's a point where it becomes obsessive. And so I was tracking all my meals before my coach, so that he could keep an eye on it. But I also started to focus it on myself. And I just couldn't ever be lean enough, and I said a lot of horrible things to myself, and it only created more issues within myself. I have dealt with those all, and am finally at a place where I'm happy with whatever my body looks like, and I can tell you it's been a long, hard road. And so if you're body shaming yourself, I would recommend going and seeing a counsellor or a therapist, so that they can help you to learn how to see how awesome you are. Because body shaming on yourself is the easiest to do and the most detrimental to do, because you believe yourself. So I think that the best way to not body shame yourself is to focus on those mental goals and growing as a person rather than a physical goal. As soon as you turn your focus to a physical goal, you instantly tell yourself, I need to look different to be better. And so, of course, we want to lose a little bit of weight in summer, that kind of thing. But do it for a different reason other than to look good in a bikini, because everyone looks good in a bikini. Everyone looks good in a pair of board shorts. Anyone looks good as long as they feel confident. I remember last summer I was lying on the beach, and I was, being a size 6, not very big, and the woman next to me would have been a size 20. And I was in awe of her. My partner said, why are you, staring at that girl? And I said, oh, she's just so beautiful. I'm just so jealous. And he said, why don't you say that about yourself? And I really thought, that's silly. Here I am thinking that this girl's awesome and gorgeous, and I'm just absolutely drooling about it. But I'd completely taken my view of myself, who was in my own bikini and had worked hard for my body and was the body that I was in. And she probably thought it was the same back. And so I think that it's something that just instantly comes to the forefront of our mind. I like the other side better. The grass is greener over there. But if you change those goals to mental goals, to growing as a person, you realize that your grass is just as green as everyone else's. They're just different. Their grass is just slightly different grass. And so, but it's no less or more value than your grass. And so to love yourself and to work with a counselor or somebody that can help you teach those, retrain that mind into thinking, I'm awesome first, and then I think everyone else is awesome. That is going to help you with your body shaming yourself, and hopefully also so you don't do it to anybody else. Because when we body shame ourselves, we're probably going to be able to body shame somebody else as well. So, and that's not a nice place to be in. if you're body shaming everybody. But obviously that's come from something mental. So whether it's, you've been telling yourself for too long, you've been on social media letting it tell you for too long, you're following the wrong accounts, you watch bodybuilding shows so you think you should be 8% body fat all year round, whatever that bad influence is, try and change it, try and pivot and look at it in a different way. That way you actually are in control. A lot of my body shaming came from being able to control my mental illness. So I knew that if I controlled my food and the way my body looked and how much exercise I did, then I would have control over something. Having anxiety and other mental illness that I've struggled with, that was out of my control and I couldn't really control, is a scary place to be. And so if I can pass that on to my body, I thought that at least I'm in control of something. But if you're not in control of your mind, you're not in control of anything. To control your mind is to set you free, and you will instantly let go of everything else once that mind is controlled. So each time you talk to yourself negatively about your body, try and register that, and then try and think of something positive. So then at least you know your brain hears that positive second. So you might have said, oh my gosh, I look so fat in this dress. Stop there. Take a deep breath in and out and think, what the fuck do I look like about my body? And you might think, oh my gosh, the reason I thought I looked fat in that dress was because of my tummy, but look how awesome my boobs look, or look how lovely my arms look. Changing that perspective inside your brain will help you, will stop you from shaming yourself. It might not work the first time, but it'll work the second, or maybe the third, or the fourth. And eventually, it won't even be something you have to think about. You just won't do it. And then, you won't do it to anybody else either. So, when we're talking body shaming and sex, I think it's more sort of like about how we portray ourselves sexually online, in public, wherever. And so it's more to do with how somebody is seen, like what clothes you wear, how much midriff, body piercings, hair, style, makeup, all that kind of thing. Some people perceive having their arms out as being sexually free or bodily free. Others will post a completely nude photo and find that empowering. Both are. Every level in which somebody finds a way to dress or express themselves, or a type of makeup or something like that empowering, is the right place for them. So I've wanted to bring up, there's a lot of, we've had Instagram, social media, all these sites for years now, and they've all been free sites, so people can come on, other than, you can keep it private, but whoever you decide to share it with, they can see it for free. And so we kind of felt like we had the right to pick at somebody, and if they're putting themselves out there on the internet and stuff like that. And girls, well, I've noticed girls, I don't follow a lot of men, so this is sort of personal experience, but girls, I see a lot of them being body shamed online, yet are very popular online. So it's almost like to be given praise also opens you up to be criticized. And so the likes of sex workers, prostitution, stripping, that kind of thing, was very separate from social media. We now have pages like OnlyFans. There's a million different kinds like that, Maxim portals and stuff like that, that are now paid for. We have paid prescriptions of magazines such as FHM and that kind of thing, and for, on the other hand as well, men's magazines that women buy as well. Clearly I've never bought any. Sorry. Yeah, and so we've had that subscriptions around before and stuff, but now yeah, we have a lot more online available, and because it's a paid prescription, we can now have more freedom on there. So girls can get paid to post artistic photos, nude shoots, and guys, sorry, but also on there it's for influencers or celebrities to have a place to share that isn't open to the world and open to criticism. I saw a celebrity, she released that she was pregnant yesterday, and with her partner, and they've started an OnlyFans to share their baby her pregnancy journey on, because she had such a whole lot of negative feedback on her page, just in general, that she didn't want it to be put against her body changing and her growing her baby, which I thought was really awesome. But a lot of OnlyFans is used obviously for nudity and for things that would get deleted on other social media, and then that's opened it up for it being paid. I've had a lot of people ask me, so is that the same as putting that into that sex worker category? Some, yes. There's a part of OnlyFans that's 18 plus. You can use it for sex work and that kind of thing, but it's also opened it up for people to be free and to not be body shamed. So girls that love sharing photos of their body and with nipples showing, for example, a man can show a nipple on Instagram, a woman cannot. So these pages, these portals have opened up that for females to be able to share their body, because why is a male nipple not offensive but a female's is, when the male nipple doesn't do anything? The female nipple keeps us alive. So I think that it's awesome that these have opened up, and it is a new territory, and also a new territory for body shaming. But I believe that the body shaming for these pages is coming from people on the outside, not people that are actually subscribing to these. So they obviously, it's not enough information for them, and they feel like they can body shame because they don't know the person well enough. But so yeah, that definitely comes under body shaming, but I think it's becoming more open, that we're allowed to be whoever we want and share our body how we want, and people can't shame us for that, and that's really awesome. I think in 2020 we need to sort of be at that point, and it's a shame that we're not further ahead with how awesome humans are and how much we've progressed over the last 200 years, but we're getting close. And so the best advice I can give is to keep being you. Don't let anyone hold you down, make you be a less shiny, sparkly version of yourself, or be more open. If you're a very reserved person, that's okay. Just because the likes of OnlyFans and things like this have allowed girls to be, and men to be more free, and transgender, more free online, humans to be more free online and out in the social areas, but it's okay if you want to, if you find it too much and you prefer to just follow your close friends, and you want to continue your ideals on how much body you share with the world and that kind of thing. So yeah, keep being you, and the less we body shame, the more we've got room to give compliments So let's do that instead. Thanks for coming to listen to Body Shaming. Still having such awesome feedback from all you guys. I've only had one negative feedback, and she pretty much shamed me. Body shamed? No, not quite. Information shamed. Said I wasn't informative enough. So if you do want more information, we'll have that newsletter coming out in hard copy, but you're also able to flick me a DM, and I'm happy to do sort of a side topic of something more specific that we've talked about. These are quite broad at the moment, and so we can definitely become more specific. I will be getting into different eating disorders and body dysmorphia specifically, but just wanted to cover what body shaming is and how those fell underneath it first. We will be releasing next week. I will have my Sex Ed Volume 5 up on Tuesday for you guys, and I will release on Friday what that will be, what that topic will be. Keep sending me through topics. I'm loving receiving them all, and I am still getting through messages, so don't feel like I've forgotten about you. I am replying to everyone that sends me messages. Thanks for coming, guys, and see you next week.